The Earthworm Jim recently, and by recently we mean in the middle of July. You may be hearing this video by fucking September or some shit. But Earthworm Jim like broke I think 700,000. When I wrote the notes for this, it was like 600,000. So it made more than Cyberfrog, but now it made even more than Cyberfrog and caught up to even the scam extra Indiegogo campaign, the scam campaigns that Ethan made to collect more money in exchange for literally nothing. But
that was especially on top of like he's been doing like tons of variant covers. Isn't that basically
that's the scam. Those are the scam Indiegogos where he just collected money for variant covers, which literally means nothing. Basically it's him selling empty air to gullible trolls who are too stupid to tell a difference and who have no principles. They had no principles against the comics industry. They were just following the crowd like the sheep that they were.
Quite simply, you're just idiots. They're throwing money at a guy who's going to waste their money and laugh at them.
Yeah. And the thing is, I think a lot of them have pretty much done that to Earthworm Jim. So Earthworm Jim ended up fucking blowing. And Earthworm Jim is like the biggest Comicsgate comic. For real.
Well, let's also face it. Real. I mean, Earthworm Jim is something that people have not only heard of, but a lot of people have actually enjoyed.
Yeah, it's
fucking Cuber Frog. Who the fuck even has ever heard of that?
Yeah, Earthworm Jim is actually known. Neversoft or whatever the fuck. What's the game that he did? That he wrote or some shit? That one people have heard of. The other shit he's done, people have heard of. So Earthworm Jim
MDE, or not MDE, but MDK?
$1 million. No, that was a Shiny game. Shiny did Earthworm Jim, but they also did MDK, but that's different. I think they also did Earthworm Jim 3D. So yeah, that's sort of related, but Doug TenNaples not related to that. But still,
the point is also I'm so familiar with Earthworm Jim. I'm familiar with like Shiny. And it was on Super Nintendo. I think it was on Genesis too.
Messiah. Yeah, fucking Earthworm Jim was on Super Nintendo and Genesis. One of the first cross-platform games in history, in fact.
You know, one of the fucking things I really liked about that game, even though it was really infuriating, was the level where you have to bounce a bunch of baby puppies against a mushroom, or not a mushroom.
There's a giant marshmallow.
There's a giant marshmallow. And if they've hit the fucking ground, they splatter.
They explode.
Into fucking liquid.
To be honest, you know what? When we say the game was infuriating, it was just like weirdly obtuse and difficult. But we finished the game in rentals. There's fucking Super Nintendo games and Nintendo games that were not ever made to be finished. They're made to be milked forever. But Earthworm Jim was finishable. It was a very weird game. And like with weird difficulty. So if you went back and played it, it would probably be kind of not that fun because it's just kind of a platformy shooter that's very odd. It is funny though. It's legitimately one of the funniest games of that time. Maybe the only funny game.
Inventive, creative.
Like the first game that actually had a sense of humor in the style and visuals instead of like in the flavor text of an RPG that tries to shoehorn in some like awkward, not very funny Japanese joke or pun that doesn't translate from some JRPG that's usually full of dumb gay grinding. But anyways, I mean, you know, JRPGs back then
extremely out of place sexuality.
Yes, but Earthworm Jim was actually it was a playable game back then. It's aged like every game ages, but that lends to how it continues, how people are still familiar with it. Therefore, Earthworm Jim is like a tested thing. It's not something out of the blue that people are funding sight unseen. Also, it's fucking...
Yeah, they have an idea of what they're getting. And that was one of the strengths of Earthworm Jim was that personality, the art that you saw in it.
Yeah, you could see the humor and personality and sort of goofiness. The game has, the games have a lot of positive aspects. The comics, again, still not really sure, but we are familiar. Everyone's familiar with that sense of style and humor. So you're not going, no one's going into Earthworm Jim blind like they were with something like Jawbreakers, where people were desperately hoping against hope and against all objective, quantifiable evidence that Jawbreakers would be a complete bag of retarded, rancid dog shit that only a complete, abject retard could like. But, Earthworm Jim, we're actually completely in favor of being successful and officially declaring it to be the most successful Comicsgate-related comic crowdfunded in history. Not the most successful crowdfunded comic, though. That still goes to Order of the Stick in 2012 that got $1.2 million, as we pointed out on Shittywebcomics before we were banned back in like fucking 2015. But
trillions of years ago.
Trillions, it seems like fucking a billion lifetimes ago. Trillions, but the thing is, I don't know why Order of the Stick even got that much money. It didn't look that good. It was a stick figure comic. But I mean, it clearly appealed to people. Anyways, as a result, though, of Earthworm Jim being successful, Ethan Van Sciver has now rapidly cycled. This might as well be the video where we officially diagnose Ethan Van Sciver with rapid cycling bipolar disorder, because he has been attacking Doug TenNapel, and he's been having his personal attack squad attack Doug TenNapel relentlessly for months now, to the point where Doug TenNapel left Comicsgate because of Ethan Van Sciver. Really because of Comicsgate, but because of specifically also Ethan Van Sciver and War Campaign. And Doug only blames War Campaign, in public, but in private, everyone who knows anything about this, and as we have pointed out many times, very blatantly, Ethan Van Sciver and War Campaign are the same thing. They're the exact same thing. They've been together on the War Campaign guys have been on his streams. He's been on their streams. They are constantly jacking each other off in public, where, on his videos. Go into any Ethan Van Sciver video with a War Campaign guy. They're constantly talking each other up, talking about how they're good friends, how about they're great people. Comicsgate regulars are talking about how the War Campaign guys, some of them are okay. It's starting to fray around the edges because Comicsgate is so cucked and being so raped in all holes at this point that even Comicsgate has to start admitting that some people in the War Campaign aren't very good, when the fact is it's all of them. The Comicsgate are the ultimate cucks. They're cucks in every single way. They're little spineless bitches. They always have been since the very start, since like 2017. And anyone who says they were, in Comicsgate before then, is the same. But, we can go into that. I think we've gone into that before anyways. And we could do videos about that if anyone wants. But behind the scenes, or in public right now, Ethan is rapidly cycling back to the playing nice false positivity bullshit, where he's like, hey, congrats to Doug TenNapel. He did a really good job. But behind the scenes, Ethan Van Sciver is calling Doug a cunt and wishing cancer on him, as he had been caught doing in the past to other people. And he was just shit-talking Doug like last week. Now, when we say last week, that means in July. When you're watching this, might not be July. We don't care. We throw these videos into a schedule. You watch them when we decide you watch them. But anyways, the thing is, Ethan doesn't even know that the internet never forgets. So all the shit he talked about Doug and other people, and the evidence that is readily available of him attacking other creators or forcing them out, or the gatekeeping that other people have even been complaining about for a long time now. All that is fully evident and able to be captured and dug up, which nobody else is really doing. A couple other people started doing it recently. I don't really know them. But people are telling us about them. It's like, oh, okay. I was going to say Midnight Cherry TV, but I don't even know if... I looked at his channel, and he just does, old comic reviews or something, so I don't even know what he does. So we don't watch them, so we can't speak for any of them. But we do know that other people are starting to dig about Comicsgate and Ethan's behavior and all that shit. And they're starting to realize that what we said from the very beginning has always been true. But Ethan still doesn't know. He's leaving all this evidence around. All of his streams, all this evidence of infighting that he has instigated, All of it's completely readily available for anyone to watch and observe.
Well, we didn't make him do that either.
Yeah,
it's not like we tricked him into doing this.
Nobody made him do this. Nobody tricked him into doing this. But the thing is, for Ethan's sake, it's lucky for him that Comicsgate has the memory of a fucking fly, because they forget what happens like every single day. Like the next day, Ethan can fucking shit talk somebody, and then the next day act nice, and people are like, "Hey, Ethan's being very nice now."
Honestly, I think a lot of that
Ethan's
just has to do with the mindset of somebody who would actually want to read comic books.
Read superhero comic books, yes. I mean, I always feel like I have to correct you when it comes to... Because we read comic books. We read comics. We're actually fans of comics, so we don't just read comic
honestly,
books.
Even then, like fucking Walking Dead, I don't care.
Yeah, Walking Dead's overrated. It's stupid
Extremely.
People. Stupid people doing stupid things around zombies. The comic book. That's what fucking The Walking Dead is. And has been. That's not our opinion. That's other people's opinions who fucking read the comic back in like 2005 and shit. So we're just repeating their opinion, in fact. But, I mean, that is kind of how most horror movies and stories and zombie stories have to work, is that otherwise they would just be safe the whole time.
Which, personally, again, I don't think is any excuse.
Yeah, it's no excuse. Go ahead and do your story where you're fucking safe forever. I mean, in a way, you could say the TV show, the later seasons started, that's what they're about, but... and that's,
the first season was legitimately good.
Yeah, and then, like, people say the later seasons with Negan showing up and the fucking he's got a baseball bat with fucking
not really though
barbed wire.
No,
yeah.
I watched through a lot of that and really no.
If you wanted to do like a post-zombie apocalypse story where it's like, how do these people live in a safe town, but there's drama and they're totalitarian, we could tell the story of that. And it's like, okay, well, you could tell a story of that. That's a good idea for setting for a TV show that's original, but I don't care. Anyways, again, our point was that, Ethan, it's sad that, wasn't it, Rex Day, Teddy Spaghetti, was the first one to call Ethan 2VS. Really clever there, Mr. Clever. You're really clever. You're really...
Mr. Spaghetti.
Mr. Spaghetti. Hey, Spaghetti.
Clearly, though, it's a reference to Tuvix.
Yes, a great reference to Tuvix, but yeah, calling him 2VS isn't Two-Faced Van Skyver. Hey, it's a comic book reference too. But it was accurate. That
I'll say this, yeah, he probably would be the one who would have the most contact with him, so he would know.
Yeah, Vox Day would know and understand.
And he was right on board with that fucking, with that estimation.
So he might actually be worth listening to. The thing is that Vox Day is not the same.
No.
He's not rapid cycling bipolar disorder like Ethan, but he is still... he's just flat out an opportunist who's not very talented. He was born into money, all that shit. But when it comes to interaction and seeing the Ethan Van Sciver's true behavior or his true rapid cycling, Vox Day would have some experience with that. But we've also had experience dealing with people like that, and we can tell from experience. We can say this with full authority that every single person with bipolar disorder should be executed, shot in the face by the President of the United States on the lawn of the White House. In
Minecraft.
In
Minecraft.
In Minecraft, but also not.
For real. Feral.
Should be getting raped in a Lifetime movie, but then also not.
The only movie I want to see her in is a rape victim on 134th Street.
And by she or her, we mean, of course, Ethan Van Sciver. But what's been happening, though, is War Campaign has been attacking Doug under Ethan's orders for the past several months. But then there was a tweet, which I have a screen cap of somewhere, and we posted to our Discord. If you really want to keep up, look at our fucking Discord. But War Campaign came out and just straight up admitted that Ethan told them to stop attacking Doug. Here it is, though. One of the water closet guys, it's funny, they're still using the literal toilet emoji, and they're so stupid, they have no idea that they're fucking using a toilet emoji in their names. But this guy says,
just a bunch of jerks.
This guy says, in response to the whole Doug TenNapel making more money at his Indiegogo than the first Cyberfrog, and really all of Cyberfrog. The rest was just scam money. That's not real. But Doug TenNapel made more money, so Ethan started acting all positive again, just being very bipolar, very mentally ill.
Mask.
Yeah,
throwing the mask on, revealing his second face.
As we have pointed out, that's our observation. Nobody else.
But this is not some kind of mental ill. Well, it's not the typical mental illness where it's like
not the usual.
He doesn't have two different personalities. It's the same personality, and it's cunty either way.
Yes, he's either a cunt or a cunt. But yeah, it's very phony the way Ethan was like, "Hey, you guys, you would have
to be a total dupe to believe it."
Yes, you'd have to be a fucking rube. You know what, Comicsgate? You know what you look like to me, Comicsgate? You look like a rube. But yeah, Ethan started with the fake positivity, being like, "Hey, Doug is really cool now," even though they were fucking screaming at each other, especially behind the scenes, I'm sure, just talking all sorts of fucking shit. And Ethan probably, like, as soon as Earthworm Jim outsold Cyberfrog, Ethan probably started screaming at people like, "That fucking piece of shit," because he's done that before. People have seen him do that before, where Ethan just screams and loses his fucking shit and throws a temper tantrum. Again, people are like, "Oh, Mark Quaid, he has his temper tantrums," but Ethan does too. But Ethan gets away with it because he now has a full army of white knighting retarded faggots backing him up. And those,
basically like Mark Waid.
Yes.
It's just that it's a different type of white knight.
A lot of them are the same people, in fact. They're Comicsgate. They're comic book buyers and supporters. They're gay, fucking retarded faggot cucks. And they're stupid. But anyways, Ethan, right here is the proof from a toilet or water closet. That Ethan told them to back off of Doug because they had been attacking him constantly. And they had to come out and admit, "We haven't been attacking him recently now because of this." After this happened, after the comic outsold Cyberfrog,
the master pulled back on the choke chain.
Yeah, exactly. Even though Ethan and especially Ethan, has said that there's no connection between. Again, that's another one of Ethan's really weirdly, obviously quantifiable lies that can be proven wrong by even the slightest observation, is that Ethan said he had no association with War Campaign, even though he's been on their streams and they've been on his streams, and that they've, again, jacked each other off publicly, constantly in Twitter, on streams, all this shit. So, and this right here is proof that not only they're associated, this is more proof that they're associated, but also that they have always taken their marching orders directly from Ethan Van Sciver. And they are an attack squad. They're called War Campaign. But they've also primarily targeted other people in Comicsgate.
Do people think that's just some kind of cute name or something?
Yeah, they have to be really stupid to think that. And and I'm sure they try to get away with saying that, like, "Oh, we don't attack people," but they attack. They've been caught, like, they're constantly making sock puppet accounts. Yeah, they admit.
And then they just admit to this.
Yeah, they admit to it and then deny it.
Himself was like, "Yeah, I've come up with my own organization to dox people and perform gay ops."
Yeah, Ethan actually
admitted. Why are you even admitting to this?
Ethan openly posted admitting that he had War Campaign doing gay ops and fucking flagging people's channels and Twitter.
Gay ops, so called because you gotta be gay to pull some gay shit like that.
Ethan Van Sciver has officially had already before this, but had officially reached Mundane Matt status. He is the Mundane Matt of comics, of comic books, and of Comicsgate. I mean, Comicsgate is the Mundane Matt fandom that just revolves around the Mundane Matt of comics. He fucking flags people. He has other people do it for him, though. That's the difference. Mundane Matt did it himself. Ethan has other people do it for him. and Water Closet makes a bunch of sock puppet accounts to attack other people's Twitters, to basically yell at people on Twitter. But it's like, and then like each other's tweets of them yelling at somebody who is correct and innocent. Here's the thing, though. Before War Campaign ever started, Comicsgate did this themselves. If you ever said anything disagreeing with Comicsgate, Comicsgate would do the yelling at you. Now they just have a name. It's War Campaign to do the yelling. But Comicsgate will still do it. In fact, there's still Comicsgate apologists or people who are like, oh, I'm very red-pilled against Comicsgate now. The red pill is for faggots and always was. But people who are saying like, oh, I'm not in Comicsgate anymore. A lot of them are still complete fucking bitch-made losers who haven't seen the true SWC red sunglasses from They Live 1,000 levels beyond anything your peddling mere little red pill could perceive of. But again, this is
kind of like Mundane Matt.
Yes.
EVS will cry when he gets the results back from his AIDS tests.
Yes, he will cry either that it's negative or that it's positive. Either way, he's going to cry.
Either way, he's going to be crying.
And just like how he cried in private when Doug TenNapel made more money than his stupid dump.
Probably trashed his room.
Yeah, he went all fucking, just like in The Room, where fucking Tommy Wiseau just started throwing things and going, yeah. Except less.
I'm fed up with this world.
Yes, except less dignified than that. Ethan was even less dignified than Tommy Wiseau.
Less dignified. You don't feel as bad for him.
Yes. But anyways, all of this actually leads to Comicsgate collapsing more. Instead of reforming, it's not going to reform around Doug TenNapel. It's going to just further collapse. And people might still try to be like, we'll remake a new Comicsgate. But that's not going to happen either, because they still have no principles. They didn't back they didn't back Earthworm Jim.
That's exactly
for any
the
new
thing
reason.
Too. Is like all they had to do was take a step back and be like, who are we giving money to?
Yeah, and for
what
what
is this
reason?
person like that we're giving money to? And then they would have immediately found those examples of fucking Ethan just straight up
being
just never delivering any of the
brain dead
things
cunt. Yeah,
he could do. Hoping they would leave and just ignore him.
They would have to be honest.
Running a scam. It's just a racket. I want to get involved in that racket.
I mean, just like Nurkish called it, cash grab. The thing is, I was thinking, hey, at least they're doing something. But Nurkish was more right than we were. It was just a cash grab. It was nothing. Comicsgate was never anything. I mean, we pointed out that Comicsgate didn't have real principles and was wrong on every argument. They were constantly, one after the other, losing every single argument against us. Nobody else had other arguments, of course. But we did, and every time we even presented an idea, Comicsgate immediately pre-lost before they could even lose. That's how pathetic Comicsgate was. Because what would happen is, we would bring up a point, and then Comicsgate would always, 100% of the time, respond with semantics or pedantry or straw man, misrepresent what we just said. That's like right there in front of them.
In bad faith.
Yeah, arguing bad faith.
Baseline. That's how they start. And they start by arguing in bad faith.
And that's 100% of the times that Comicsgate has ever tried to counter-argue, and that's rounded down to the nearest trillionth. That's how much Comicsgate has lost every single argument that has ever been or could ever be. They've lost every argument possible, and even some arguments that are essentially impossible. So, we're not here even to document, the history of what's going on with Comicsgate, or, Earthworm Jim just did this, or, we're probably going to upload this video, 2 months from now, because we don't give a shit. We're just here to brag, and we've earned it, because we're right, and none of you are. None of you were right. You're all gay queers. But make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And unhit the bell for notifications. Yeah, that's right. I went there. And then,
Shit.
holy shit. So,
Shit.
and then, and so what's our forced catchphrase again?
Fucking should have listened to Swick.